Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 22nd. National Make a Dog's Day. This is not hard. They are dogs. I think they are overjoyed by everything. The alt that I was going to do was, I thought the dog days were over. Florence and the Machine promised me they were. I don't know. Pick your poison. Decide which one you liked better, and that's the opening I did. And now the news. Starting in Los Angeles, where, and I'm going to read this as it was reported by CNN, who got it from a law enforcement source, quote, an immigration and customs enforcement agent's weapon discharged when the agent tried to grab an individual who apparently rammed into a vehicle that was part of a team of ICE and U.S. Marshals engaged in an immigration enforcement, end quote. Now, what I'm not going to do is read the statement from the Department of Homeland Security, who multiple times used the term illegal alien. Not an amazing start. But it sounds like what happened here is during a targeted traffic stop meant to basically check papers, because that's where we are right now, and certainly for sure, this isn't like any other time in history of another country. A suspect that had previously escaped custody hit law enforcement's car in an effort to drive away. The statement from Department of Homeland Security kind of glosses over this, but investigators believe that the officer then smashed the window of the suspect's car with their gun, and while trying to grab them, the gun went off. So that is what the investigators say. The suspect tried to drive off, and then the agent used the gun to smash open a window, went to go grab the person, and then that is when the gun went off. How does DHS describe that situation? Quote, our officers followed their training and fired defensive shots, end quote. So again, I will not be reading their statement because I do not believe that their statement is completely aligned with what the investigators say. Luckily, the U.S. Marshal is in stable condition. A source previously told CNN that the suspect was, quote, gravely wounded, but their condition is not currently known. But incidents like this are why we don't want a hostile government takeover, because emotions are high and mistakes get made. And yet, after another restraining order preventing the National Guard from being deployed to Portland, the Trump administration is now trying to just pretend that it didn't happen, the whole case maybe didn't happen, with a motion to dissolve the order and then allowing the troops to enter Portland. That is what was filed on Tuesday. There was in yesterday's episode, I talked about how the restraining order was lifted and then troops would be able to go to Portland. And then after that, another restraining order was put in place to stop the troops. And now Trump's going to try and file another suit to let the troops come in. Hard to keep track of. Good thing I'm here to keep track of it for you. We'll see what happens. But while Trump worries about Portland, don't forget that on day one in office, he pardoned every single person who did insurrection with him and in his honor. And I remind you of this because Christopher Moynihan, who was part of that group, was arrested on Saturday for making terroristic threats via text to an unknown recipient. The texts included this, quote, even if I am hated, he must be eliminated. I will kill him for the future, end quote. He is referring to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And that is a pretty clear threat on Jeffries' life right there. Moynihan is expected to make an appearance in court tomorrow. For the record, during the insurrection, Moynihan entered the Capitol and took pictures on his phone of documents in an open notebook on Congress members' desks, saying that he was looking for evidence to use against Democrats. Again, Donald Trump pardoned every single person who was convicted for their actions on January 6th without ever looking into them, thinking about what they did on that day or what they might do in the future. He's not much of a forward thinker, that guy. Really goes with his instincts, which is wild, because his instincts are bad. On Monday, Trump all but confirmed that he is seeking $230 million in damages from his own, his own Department of Justice. Yeah. He confirmed that he is seeking damages, but he says he doesn't know how much. He doesn't talk to his lawyers about it. That's what he said. Are you ready to get so mad? Here's a quote. Quote, "As you know, that decision would have to go across my desk, and it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages? But I was damaged very greatly, and any money that I get, I would give to charity." End quote. The damage has already been done, my guy. It took place long before these investigations. It happened the first day. You were like, "Dad, can I have a hug?" And he was like, "No." And I like that he was like, "Have you ever had to decide how much money you would get in damages case? Certainly this is something we can everybody knows. Everybody's been in the same position as I've been in. Therapy should be free and mandatory." Here's another quote, since I'm already mad. Let's do another one. Quote, "I guess they owe me a lot of money. I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for, really, it's got to be handled in the proper way. We don't want it to happen again." End quote. No, you know what? We don't want to happen again. We don't want you to happen again. Go away. Imagine him being able to be happy. You know, I don't have anything else to say. Like, if he had the ability to be happy, to find happiness, then that'd be cool, I think. He probably would have done it then already, and we'd just be like, remember that scene in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, where that guy's walking in it? That guy's weird. Good thing we don't have to know anything about him anymore, you know? The President of the United States, the guy from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and also Little Rascals. I don't reference that one enough. The President of the United States did these crimes. He was investigated for said crimes because our country has some very deep-rooted problems. He was elected after doing said crimes, and now the people that he put in place after being elected are going to sign off on and then allow him to be the ultimate approver of hundreds of millions of dollars for being investigated for the crimes. And then he walks around acting like the world is against him, and I think there's no worst part, actually. Let me stop myself right there. There is no worst part. It's all the worst part, but it's the acting like everybody is against him when you rigged the game. I talked about it on the Substack today. This is exhausting, but at the Substack, I talked about how we cannot just be exhausted. We have to continue to pay attention because this exhaustion is a goal. It's a side goal. The goal is the grift. The grift is the goal, but bonus for him would be us being exhausted and too exhausted to fight back. And we can't do that because we're not going to let him win. But here's one more thing. I'm already in a mood. We're already in a mood. I should have warned you at the top. It's a Trump-heavy episode. A Trump episode. I apologize. While we're already in a mood about him, construction on the new ballroom for the White House started this week, and even though we were assured that nothing would be touched at all, demolition on the East Wing started with the facade coming down. The 90,000 square foot ballroom will be almost double the size of the White House. Almost double. Nothing more to say about that. It's happening. I've had it up to here with this guy. I'm not very tall. I'm the same height as America's sweetheart Rachel Bilson, but still, I've still had it. And of course, the government is still shut down. Who has time to reopen the government? We've got ballrooms to build. Trump did find time to have lunch with Senate Republicans on Tuesday before telling the press that Republicans, quote, will not be extorted into giving into Democrats' demands. So, no negotiating. Welcome to day 22. Meanwhile, Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays has filed a lawsuit in an attempt to force House Speaker Mike Johnson to swear in newly elected House Rep Adelita Grijalva, who won her seat a month ago, but has yet to be sworn in, which, according to the suit, as well as, reality, deprives 813,000 residents in her district of having a congressional representative. Speaker Johnson called the suit, quote, patently absurd. All right, man, you can disagree, but it's been a month. This person was elected a month ago, and you just were like, nope. Wait, I guess. I would not say it's patently absurd. It's not. Look up what that means. I think that's too strong of language. And that's it. That's the news. I'm proud of 0 Republicans, because either they're in cahoots with Trump or they're not standing up against him. Stand up against him. Find a brave. Find a brave. This dude, he's no good. He's no good. Find a brave. I'm proud of dogs, though. They're so cute. Little pups, little goofs. But more than dogs, because you probably don't have a tail, but you tell tales well. And because of that, I'm proud of you.